A large bird bath made from imitation marble. It's full of water and I can't see a damn bird for miles. Now, does a bird bath in a land where it rains constantly actually make sense? I can't see anything interesting, and the basin is much too heavy to move. A wet, uncomfortable, and somewhat shabby-looking wooden bench with the paint slowly flaking off it. The bench is wet. I'm not sitting there. A big heap of wet leaves. A gardener must have raked them together from off the lawn. That pile's not been here for long. The leaves are soaking wet on the outside, but they look drier underneath. The rain hasn't made everything wet through. That pile's not been here for... A steel-framed conservatory. It's quite obvious that it's a newer addition to the rest of the building.
Oh, a new guest! Welcome to Gordon's Palace. My name is Murray.
Hello. I'm looking for a young woman who's spending some time here. Maybe you've seen her?
Yes, maybe I have, but maybe I haven't. You have to understand, this is a discreet hotel. I can't talk about my guests.
So, she's a guest here.
As I said already, a discreet hotel.
Almost dead, one could say.
It's off-season right now. It'll get busier. This is the best hotel in Willow Creek, and a place with history. This was once the sanatorium of the dreaded Robert Gordon, the Dr. Frankenstein of Willow Creek.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, yes. He was the uncle of Samuel Gordon, the maniac murderer. Everyone thought squeaky clean Sir Robert was a respectable doctor. But in reality, he conducted illegal experiments on the sanatorium's patients. Very nasty goings-on.
And then someone thought it would make a great hotel.
Of course, of course. Immediately after the murders 12 years ago, the tourists came in throngs. They wanted to see everything. But where could they stay the night? There wasn't a hotel. So, I bought this building. The patients were taken away straight after the incident, of course. Some also escaped. So, anyway, I bought the house, had it renovated, and now it's the best hotel in the place. How many nights did you say you wanted?
Actually, I just wanted to know if you've seen this young lady. Her name is Angelina Morgan.
Now, I can't talk to strangers about guests. The hotel's reputation, you see.
I see. And if I were a guest myself, then...
Then, of course, we could have a little chat about who else has a room here at the moment.
All right, then. A room, please. For, let's say, 2 nights to start with.
Very well. That'll be £90.
So, what about Angelina? Is she here?
The young lady checked in here a few days ago. Room 13, right next to yours, sir. However, I haven't seen her since yesterday morning.
Thank you. Room 13, that's down this corridor?
Yes, sir. Your room is number 12. You do, of course, understand that I can't let you into the lady's room. As you know, the hotel has a reputation to uphold.
Huh. This takes me a step closer. I know Angelina was here. Perhaps I'll find some clues as to what she found out, and who didn't like it. Angelina checked in here and is staying in room 13. The guest book probably can't tell me much more. One of the keys belongs to Angelina's room, It's number 13, but I can't get my hands on it while Murray's standing at the counter. An old-fashioned telephone. It's probably meant to be classic, but to be honest, it's just old. A whole row of old-fashioned lockboxes. Although they're only made of wood, they look like they're still tricky to break open. A whole row of a stand with what looks like tasteless postcards from tourists. They show either pictures of the village or blood-stained knives. Here's one with a screaming woman on it. Huh. Willow Creek. I was here and survived. Willow Creek makes your blood freeze. Willow Creek, home of murderers. Unbelievable. You know, I can never be bothered with most postcards. But here's a card with a drawn map of the area showing the murder locations of 12 years ago all marked out. I could use the map to help me keep myself oriented. I'll take it with me.
I'll put it on your bill.
A card from the Willow Creek area. It's marked where the murders took place 12 years ago. As long as I don't have any leads, I'd better just give a look around here once again. She was definitely here. Or maybe not in the village. What the? A cheap plastic mask of Samuel Gordon. Toy knife with blood-stained blade. And the worst thing is that you can bet that some of my fellow humans actually buy this stuff. And what's this thing supposed to be? Huh. The original soul key. Summon dark forces and scare the pants off your friends. Lights up in 3 different colors. Gruesome sound effects. Hellish fun. Batteries not included. I can't get my head around it. I'd rather chop my hand off than buy this plastic crap from China and speed up global warming and the demise of mankind. I'd rather chop my... I can't do a thing with the other postcards. It's already bad enough that I've been supporting Murray and his rip-off business by buying the map. That's one of those things they use in big hotels to carry cases on. I find it rather hard to imagine them having hotel porters here. If at all, that thing was maybe used during the first months when the place opened. I'd like to bet it hasn't turned a wheel since. Huh. A bottle of schnapps. Maybe I could grab it while Murray's not looking. Voila! A bottle of alcohol. Murray seems to have just been eating something. I'm guessing that he's the only employee in his hotel, so he can't just go and leave his position at the counter to go and eat. The knife hasn't been used. I'll take it. Maybe I can still find a use for it. It's probably crockery that was intended for the guests. I can't see anything special about it. A classic dark brown leather armchair. The arms are worn somewhat. It's seen better days for sure. Until I found Angelina, I don't have any time to rest. A big houseplant in a hefty flower pot. No idea what type it is. I know nothing about them. I can't find anything exciting. The plants don't look all that happy. But like I've said, I don't know much about either botany or the psyche of plants. Room 13. That's Angelina's room. And that's my room, number 12. First I'll get rid of this rucksack, and then I need to find a way to get into Angelina's room. That's better. Strange. The wall doesn't look like it belongs here. Looks temporary to me. It's pretty dark back there, but it looks like the passage simply hasn't been renovated. I'd like to guess that this wall's been put up just to prevent the guests in the front part of the hotel from being disturbed while the restoration work's still going on in the back. Perhaps Murray ran out of cash, or he saw that he didn't need any more rooms. Whatever the case, the renovation didn't get finished. No. I don't think there's anything of interest waiting for me back there. Let's see. A few crime stories, poetry collections, fairy tales, horror stories. Just the thing for a relaxing night in a hotel. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna have one of those. A whole load of good books, but I don't know how they're supposed to help me in my search for Angelina. A whole load of good books. There's a newspaper lying on the glass table. Maybe a service for the guests. Oh no, can't be. The paper's already several weeks old. Probably so little going on here that Murray hardly ever gets back here to tidy up. Nothing's older than yesterday's paper, but I don't have to read it. I think I'll just take a few pages. The idea is very much that you sit yourself in this armchair, read one of the books from over there, while quietly smoking a pipe or a cigar. Judging by the ashtray, it looks like that hasn't happened for some time though. It's sparkling clean. There's only a box of matches lying in it. Allardyce matches. Sounds like there's still a few in here. A wooden clock with a glass cover and some carving on it. Huh. What's that? The clock's just an imitation. It can't be wound up. Probably a cheap electronic clock with batteries. I can't get it off. It's screwed on. I need a screwdriver or something like that to get it off the bookcase. Yep, that's how it's done. I've got them. 2 1.5-volt batteries. What else can you tell me about Angelina?
Don't know. Nice girl. Seems to be out a lot. Always went off for a couple of hours, then back to her room, then out again.
Did you notice anything? Was she nervous? Afraid?
No, not really. She seemed to be a bit stressed. Tense. And always in a hurry. That's just what young people are like.
Did you call the police when she didn't come back last night?
Why should I? She paid up front. Everything's fine.
Oh yeah, everything's fantastic. She might be bleeding to death in the woods or in the hands of violent kidnappers, but she paid up front.
Calm down. Nothing will have happened to her. Absolutely nothing's happened here for 12 years, unfortunately.
What did you say this building used to be?
The old Ashbury Sanatorium. The legendary, the gruesome, the unfathomable sanatorium of the crazy Robert Gordon.
I see.
Sir Robert was Samuel Gordon's uncle on his father's side. He lived in the castle and was, of course, like all Gordons, completely insane. He conducted experiments on the patients here in the sanatorium. Illegal experiments. Terrible experiments.
And no one noticed?
He mostly did it at night, alone. He only had one accomplice in the village, Dr. Herman. Both were murdered before their schemes were uncovered. But strange things have been happening since their deaths. People claim to have seen spectral apparitions in these corridors, and sounds that come out of the ground.
Sure, and that's probably written large on the front of your flyers, right? A couple of ghosts would surely be good for business. It's just a shame it's absolute moonshine. What can you tell me about this place?
Willow Creek. It's the nest in which I was born. Just like all the others you see around here. No one moves to here. Either you're born here and stay, or you're born here and leave. It can't keep hold of the youngsters anymore. They want to be in the city. The place is dying out.
Is there anything special to see here?
The museum, of course. I was significantly involved in setting it up. It's even on my land, which I've leased for a small, appropriate fee, of course. Go into the village. You won't miss it. We set it up once the flow of tourists dried up. You need to offer the people something, after all. We redesigned the rear part of the museum last year. Now it's got a lot more zip. It was my idea. None of the other people in the village have got any idea about business.
And?
You have to speculate to accumulate. You're not going to attract tourists with a couple of clay pots and carpets, are you?
How can you attract tourists?
With a show! You need to give them something. We've got 5 gruesome murders here, an old family full of maniacs, a dark curse. There must be some capital in that.
Doesn't seem to have worked all that well so far.
Alas, no. Many didn't get involved. Said you should let the dead rest in peace. We won't get anywhere like that.
Of course not.
During the first few months after the murders, it was looking really good. The papers wrote about our murders all the time. Loads of free publicity. They came from all over. Buses full. But then, well, the hype died down.
Ooh, how tragic. Hey, perhaps a couple of people should be killed every season. Then you'll get more press.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about it. You haven't invested all your savings. But I'll have the last laugh. This place is gonna be on the up again.
What's that castle out there on the hill?
That's the famous Black Mirror Castle, ancestral home of the Gordon family. There are few buildings here that have a history as fascinating and blood-soaked.
Why, what happened there?
What didn't happen there, more like? Every imaginable abomination. Murder, torture, witch burning, dark rituals, devil worship, everything.
Yeah, sure. And that's not just what you tell the tourists to make this place more interesting.
Well, perhaps it's not quite that bad, but what the people say is true. That castle is cursed. That much is certain.
Cursed.
Just look at the Gordons. An ancient family that's gonna die out. One blow of fate after the other. The latest events alone. Around 25 years ago, there was a fire in the castle, and Master Samuel lost his young wife in the flames. 12 years ago, the eldest Gordon committed suicide. He jumped from the castle tower. After that came Robert's murder and Samuel's suicide. The last surviving Gordon is Lady Victoria. She's already about 90. When she dies, one of the oldest families in England dies with her.
Sounds like bad luck, but not necessarily a curse.
It is. The castle is cursed. It makes the people crazy. How else are you going to explain one Gordon after the other completely losing it?
Some mental illnesses are hereditary. And if it's an old noble family, incest may also play a role.
Yeah. Or natural radioactivity, or poisonous groundwater. That's all far-fetched. It's a curse. Everyone knows that.
What's that then? A soul key?
They are powerful, magical artifacts. After the murders 12 years ago, the police seized documents from the castle. Amongst them were also pictures of these soul keys. Samuel Gordon must have been nigh on obsessed by them. The police believe that Samuel had several of them.
Perhaps the devil himself gave him the order to do it.
Perhaps. What's for certain is that he killed for it, and that the keys, assuming they ever existed, disappeared when he committed suicide.
And what has that got to do with this plastic trash?
That's no trash! Do you know how expensive it was to produce thousands of these and ship them here? Pal, that cost me a fortune.
Thousands! How many have you sold?
Put it this way, I won't need to reorder in the near future. Even though they're so fantastic. Or they even light up when you put a battery in them.
Oh, awesome. Couldn't you perhaps give me Angelina's room key?
If you buy the hotel and let me retire, then we can talk about it.
And if I forget a £50 note on the counter, would you go outside to look at the pretty pictures on it in the daylight?
Young man, this is a quality hotel. I can't and won't allow its reputation to be damaged.
No one will notice. There's not a soul here.
You can't bribe me, and that's that.
Thanks for the chat, Murray.
My pleasure.
I'd rather chop my hand off than... Wow, the ivy must be at least 100 years old. It's already climbed up the whole building. Shame that I don't have to secretly get up to the first floor. The ivy would be an ideal ladder substitute. No, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. That pile's not been here for long. The leaves are soaking wet on the outside, but they look drier underneath. The rain hasn't made everything wet through. No, I'm not doing that. There's no way I could light this heap with a match on its own. The leaves underneath are too damp as well. A match wouldn't even char them. I've got the crumpled newspaper in the middle, next to the leaves which aren't so wet. The newspaper's lit. The leaves next to it are just charring. The hotel lobby's in there behind the tall windows. Very grand for such a small country hotel. Murray, there's smoke outside. I hope the hotel isn't gonna burn down around our heads.
Bugger! Oh!
As long as Murray's outside putting out the fire, I can take Angelina's key unnoticed. Now we'd like to have that. The key for room number 13. Hopefully I might find some evidence of Angelina's whereabouts in her room.
Those little brats! They've no idea how dangerous that is. They should...
the young are really bad. Nothing special. A typical hotel bathroom, like you can find all over the world. A completely normal tube TV, like most folks have at home. Should I sit myself down in front of the TV and wait until I see ghostly messages from Angelina in the white noise? Maybe not. A little cupboard. Looks rather like an antique. And inside there's... Sleeping potion. Now could that be Angelina's? Maybe she was having nightmares from all that business. What the hell have I gotten her into? What's that? One of the pictures I took of Angelina. That's gotta be a clue for me. So it is. There are a few white notes on the back of the picture. Strange. There are 2 sheets of writing paper, folded twice, but there's nothing on them. Either it's a secret message written in invisible ink, or the empty pages themselves are some kind of clue. But right now, though, I have no idea myself. Let's see. There, you can see a black script. Of course, a real old trick. Angelina must have used lemon juice to write with. The heat makes the clear juice turn black. Ouch! Damn it. The match is burned out and there's only a tiny corner of the text that's turned visible. A white-painted ribbed radiator. The heating's lukewarm. I don't see anything that might be significant. Interesting. Several cut lemons. And there's a sliver of wood stuck in one of them. She didn't eat the lemons, that much is clear. Lemons and a sliver of wood. That rings a bell somehow. Here's a few sheets of writing paper. Now, did Angelina make any notes about her investigations? The glass is half full. That can't work, no matter if it's rum or whiskey, even if it was meth. I need a small controllable flame, I'm missing a wick. A thick, heavy, and very old-fashioned bedspread. There are woolen threads around the edges. I can't take the cover, but I can take the wooden thread as a souvenir. It wouldn't be the first time something like that had come in useful. Great. The woolen thread is acting like a wick and soaking up the alcohol. Looks like I've rediscovered the world's oldest artificial light source. Awesome. My little fire's lit. It was working like that 10,000 years ago, too. Now what do I do with it? So, let's see. Ah, at last. There's Angelina's message. Sunday, 1600. I don't know what's supposed to be so special about Willow Creek.
It all seems so forlorn, poor and desolate. Hopefully I won't have to disappoint Darren. He's helped me so much, and I only now hope that I can help him too. Sunday, 9 p.m. That Porter Murray is a damned shark. He had money off me for every single bit of info. I'm not doing that again. I'll go to the library tomorrow, and there's supposed to be a town museum too. Maybe I'll pick up something there about Darren's castle. Monday, 11 a.m. Black Mirror was built in the 14th century by the two brothers, Marcus and Mordred Gordon. The brothers argued and virtually waged war with each other. To this day, descendants of the Gordon line still inhabit Black Mirror Castle. They will, however, soon die out. The last young Gordon died 12 years ago, having committed suicide. Monday, 2 p.m. I've got something on the tree symbol that Darren discovered on Boris's ring. The symbol is mentioned in the Chronicle of the Gordon family. I also stumbled across it in the library. It's the symbol of a secret society, a kind of sect that wants to summon up dark powers and uses corpses in the process. What if Boris is one of them? Monday, 4 p.m. I found out in the pub that people believe there's a curse on Black Mirror Castle and the Gordon family. Maybe I'll change the topic of my degree thesis. I'd much rather write about accursed castles, though I can't see my good Prof. Hubbard being too thrilled about the idea. Monday, 9 p.m. He's here. Reginald Boris is here in Willow Creek. I've just seen him sneaking about the hotel. What should I do? Is he here because of me? Now, of all times, right when I want to investigate the passage. I'm not going to let myself be stopped, but I'll send off some insurance.
Oh man, Reginald Boris. Angelina had been doing some research, and Boris had caught her at it. Now, he's holding her prisoner, and... does he want to lure me to him? In Maine, he wanted to take me on a journey. Is this all about me? Whatever the reason for all this might be, Angelina doesn't have anything to do with it. She's got into danger because she wanted to help me. It's my fault if something happens to her. I ought to go into the village and listen around. Angelina was there. But I need to be careful. I don't know who might belong to this order that Angelina warned me about. The bed looks old-fashioned, but not uncomfortable. I'm rather tempted by the idea of a couple of hours on it. I've been on my feet for more than 24 hours now. But I really can't allow myself a break until I've found Angelina. Huh. bed's a little to one side, as though it's been pushed around. Maybe there's something under there. Aha, now then, the carpet under the bed has been torn up, and there seems to be some kind of metal cover there. I need to take a closer look at this. There it is. A kind of round metal cover. It was hidden under the carpet. A round metal plate, about 20 inches in diameter. Maybe copper? Oh, I can't say how thick it is, but it gives the impression of being solid and heavy. There are 5 rings on the cover, and they turn. There's an animal symbol engraved on each ring, and in the middle of the cover there's a handle. Ugh, it's rock solid, no chance. I probably have to set the right combination, but I don't know what it is, and there must be thousands of possibilities. No. I don't know what I could ask Murray right now. We all know that old one.
What do you mean?
A young, attractive lady is carrying a stack of books and lets them fall at the feet of the hero.
Excuse me? I'm the librarian here, so it's quite right that I should be carrying books around the place. Young? Attractive? Well, I'll accept that. But why do you consider yourself to be a hero?
You're the librarian? Oh, then you can definitely tell me something worth knowing about this place, Miss,
Valley. You're American?
Darъn Майкълс. Do I really sound American?
Oh, yes. Now let me see. Your accent is non-rhotic. That is, you don't sound the phoneme R at the end of a syllable, or before consonants. And you have hard A sounds. That's the famous Boston accent.
Awesome! I really do come from Boston.
I've spent half my life in books, so something has to have stuck.
So then you can probably tell a damn Yankee something about Willow Creek?
What do you want to know?
I'm staying at the Gordon's Palace Hotel.
Really? You're letting yourself get ripped off by that old so-and-so Murray?
The building is supposed to have had a terrible past.
That's true.
It would seem that all of the male Gordons were a little bit crazy.
The curse of the Gordons.
Please don't tell me you believe in all that hokum.
I never used to.
You English. You like your ghost stories and all that a little too much.
That's the obligatory village pub. It never was a great place, but since the old landlord left, it really has gone downhill. The new landlord is Tom, the chap at the chili stall. The fair will be here for a few more days yet, but I wouldn't bet that it'll be coming back again.
Well, is there anything about Willow Creek that's worth knowing?
Not a lot. There must have been a settlement there for a good 1,000 years or so. They found remains dating back that far.
Yeah, a stone circle in a forest. So I've heard.
Yes, there's one of those. It really only kind of got going around the 13th century when there was a monastery built in the neighborhood. Also a church and the first part of a castle.
And more recently?
You're talking about the murders. That's 12 years ago now. Let's not talk about those. Back there, by the town hall, is my empire, the library. Perhaps it's because there's otherwise so little going on here. There are plenty of people who like to and who do read a lot. Sadly, often all the wrong things. Trashy stuff and the cheapest pulp lit are in high demand.
The castle nearby, isn't that the famous Black Mirror Castle?
It certainly is. Its inhabitants have influenced things around here for centuries. Sometimes for the good, sometimes rather more negatively.
How do you mean that?
Everything around here belongs to the Gordons. In the old days, virtually everything that went on here was all decided in the castle. Just what could happen in the village, and what could not.
And who lives in the castle today?
Lady Victoria Gordon, the last of the Gordons, her old butler Bates, and her late brother's widow, Lady Eleanor. I think there are a few other servants too. That's the museum. If you want to know more about Willow Creek, then that's the place to be. At least in the front bit.
What's in the back?
The newly opened Black Museum. Cheap special effects animation. Horror and titillation at others' expense.
What's wrong with the Black Museum? Why should you get so wound up about it?
It's not about informing people. Nothing to do with knowledge. It's about putting blood and suffering on display.
I'm afraid that's what folks are interested in.
Because they want a gawk. These are the same people who would rather photograph an accident than help out. They don't share in any of the misfortunes of those behind the spectacle.
Can you help me with the symbol? A tree where the roots reach around and up into the branches. That mean anything to you?
Where do you know that from?
You know something about it?
You ought to forget about it again as soon as possible.
I stumbled across it in Maine, and now I'd like to know if it...
Maine? You come... But you said Boston. I've still got something to finish. Good day.
Miss Valley, listen! And she's gone. What was that all about?